As always, ensure all required PPE is applied prior to performing any work.
To access the human interface, take this screw out, and there you go. Notice the display is dark. When we push the status button, now you can see the backlight. The backlight will be on for 30 minutes after the last button press. So again, at the stop button, or at the status button, our unit is stopped, but let's go in and see what our status looks like. So to do that, to navigate, we're going to push next. Here's our first submenu, General System Status. And this says that we're in local control, so we have a building automation system. Our unit is not clustering. Our supply fan relay is off with no flow, of course, because our unit is stopped. Our supply fan speed limited, and our supply pressure is 0. Space pressure is 0 in this particular case. And mod gas limited by demand limit. This unit has a GBAS module, and the demand limit input is closed. And then dehumidification is disabled. It's been disabled in the setup. Humidification is disabled. And now let's go in. You notice I'm pushing next. I push next again. Compressor status. I push enter. And so once again, compressors are disabled by demand limit and disabled by low ambient lockout. It's cold enough that the compressors aren't going to run even if demand limit wasn't enabled. And as you see, we're scrolling through each of the compressor outputs. And then here's our entering and leaving evaporator temperature, not running, so of course the temperature is the same. Condenser coil temperature, and condenser fans, and condenser damper position, reheat setup, valve position, and outdoor temperature and compressor lockout temperature, set pretty high on this lab unit. Next, Economizer status. There's our Economizer showing enabled, and our outdoor heat content, and outdoor temperature, outdoor humidity, and then outside ventilation menu. Demand control is enabled. That's our CO2 level in the space right here. And OA flow for our track dampers. And positions related to our outside damper position in CO2. And return fan status. This unit has a return fan and it's off. And it says flow because of a jumper input that we use with return fan units. And then again, our pressures and target set point and some other set points associated with a return fan. Controlling set point status, supplier cooling set point, where our set points are coming from. HI is the human interface, that's this thing right here. Same thing from our human interface. Our daytime warm-up, initiate and terminate set points, and unoccupied cooling set point, unoccupied heating set point, and morning warm-up set point, and dehumidification set point, unoccupied dehumidification set point, supplier reheat set point for dehumidification, and more, and additional set point, Economizer enable set point. So you see these various set points are all associated with this unit and how it's configured. And so let's scroll forward to, once again, we're looking at target and set points. We're still looking at set points. And so as you can see, there's quite a few here. Next is sensor status. This shows essentially where our sensors are coming from. The sensor can come from different sources, And so in this particular case, our supply air temperature is coming from the RTM supplier temp input. And daytime warm-up sensor, unoccupied, morning warm-up, space humidity, CO2 sensor, dehumidification override, temp input, outdoor temp sensor, outdoor humidity sensor, supply air pressure, space pressure, a temperature sensor being monitored for our building automation system. And then temperature input status, we'll skip that, but that just goes through some of those same input points to help you to see where the various temperature inputs are on the unit. Local hardwired inputs, we'll take a look at that. This unit is not configured as IntelliPak 2, is configured with dehumidification. There's no supply fan flow, no return fan flow, or it is showing return fan flow again because of a jumper input. Supplier pressure, some of the inputs we've already looked at are shown sometimes in multiple submenus. CO2 level, return plenum pressure. We don't have G-bias modules on our unit, but if we did, this would be showing their status points. And that's it for the status screens.